Right, welcome back everybody. So I'm on the bank at Elton with good friend Mark. Um, so those of you that know, we're early morning fishing, but I'll let Mark introduce himself for you that don't know him.
Uh, no introduction really needed, is it? If you fish caster, you know me. Yeah, bailiff at caster for quite a few years. I officially retired end of the 2019-20 season, but still do a bit. Just keep my hand in a little bit bailiffing, but
Yep,
got more time to fish where I like when I like now. So
as we're doing this morning, lovely morning.
beautiful, lovely.
Find yourself squinting though. That's the only thing. It's
Yeah,
going to get worse. Hopefully the sun will go behind that tree and
should do.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's start off, Mark, with a bit of fishing history. So when did it start for you, and who taught you, and where?
Yeah, I was 10 or 11 down at Caster Backwater with my older brother. One evening, I remember. Can't remember what I caught, apart from getting a hook in my foot. But yeah, it was that was my introduction back in the old days of fiberglass rods and my dad's a lot of stuff with my dad's old kit my brother was using, with a wicker basket and all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff. And then I sort of progressed a little bit from there and used to fish with a mate, Kevin Flynn, from school. He lived at Bainton. We used to go in the old Bainton railway pits. Used to push bike over there, rod strapped to the crossbar and my wicker basket on my back, 7.5 miles each way. Used to stay there at the weekends and we'd go in and fish the pits. Lovely.
yeah,
Used to love it. Early morning stuff like this,
yeah,
fantastic. Loved it. And then had a bit of a break when you get to leave, you leave school and you start getting pub life and nightlife and getting out a bit. Had a break for about 30 years
yeah.
and then came back to it about 2008,
Okay.
something like that. So yeah, once you get back into it, it's it's something I've spoken to you before about it. It was the first time I got some new gear and that. I went with a mate who I used to go beating with on the shoots and set it all up, went out, and it was just the click of the bail arm. As soon as that bail arm clicked over, and
Yeah,
it's all come back, loved it.
yeah,
But it's all things have changed a lot in that time, hell of a lot.
yeah. I was going to say, sort of looking back and mentioning things like the wicker basket, and I remember sort of carrying a huge box to go fishing.
Yeah.
You take it, you'd sit on it, it goes like you have your big box of floats and stuff in there. But what have you seen in the changes of your fishing from when you sort of first started, even when you got back into it, up until now?
Um, I think from when I did it until the 30-year gap carbon fibre rods had all come in and things like that. We didn't have anything like that.
Yeah,
There's a lot more. There's a bit of gear and gadget for everything now, and
yeah,
as
yeah,
you know, especially with the cart boys, they've got something for everything. So that sort of side of things, it come on quite a lot really in leaps and bounds, and even in the last few years, this every day, every sort of week, there seems to be some new bit of technology. A
yeah,
lot of it's lost on me. I'm not really a technophobe.
yeah,
I like to keep my fishing quite simple, So just have some nice gear, as long as it works and does the job. Everybody gets used to their own stuff, what they like, and I sort of tend to stick to it.
yeah, yeah. It's like you
Mm.
say, the technology side of it sort of crept in. I guess you kind of it's getting that balance, isn't it, with what you're
Yeah,
comfortable with, as opposed to sort of like I guess what you think you need based on what everyone's telling you. So,
yeah.
but
Another big change was commercial fishing.
yeah,
Commercial fisheries. There was virtually nothing in those days. I've always been a river. I learnt on the rivers. Apart from fishing baiting pits, I don't fish commercials now in the close season. I don't fish at all.
yeah,
Unless I can find a little estate lake, do some early morning tenching. I had a little place a few years ago which was absolutely lovely,
yeah.
like a little mini red mire pool,
Okay,
But I want to go tenching before dawn till about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning.
yeah,
And you can't do that sort of thing on a lot of commercials. It's traditional method with the float and things like that. I don't want to be chucking it 40, 50 yards and
yeah,
fingers, and I ain't my sort of tench fishing. So I just tend to stick to the rivers.
yeah,
I love a
yeah.
bit of river fishing. So,
It's hard to find those places, isn't it? Like a nice estate lake, seeing the sort of tench bubbling first thing
yeah,
in the morning.
that's
It's
fantastic.
those places. I don't seem to
Yeah,
be many of them about now. So bit of a tricky one, but yeah, it's that I guess it's that early morning like we've got at the moment, isn't it? It's, apart from us talking, you just hear sort of wildlife,
yeah. yeah. It's
So
lovely still morning, you know, and it's probably, you know, once that sun gets up, it's not going to be so good for the fishing, but it's just nice to get out.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Get away from everything in there. So just going back to when we first met, Mark, we goes back to those days on Castor. I remember sort of finding out about the river on an Angling Times article and making my way up there. It's fair to say that sort of, you gave me sort of pointers, helped me on my way, and sort of really got me into the sort of barbel fishing, and helped me get it going. I mean, I can remember sort of fishing there for a good half a season, and I think I had one sort of wrap round and just lost it. Was totally caught me out of the blue. But sort of going back to the barbel fishing and certainly sort of thinking about Castor. But tell me about the sort of rise of specimen barbel fishing on the I guess on the lower Nene altogether, because it's grown, hasn't it? It's come from.
Yeah, it's come on. I mean, it's going through a little bit of a change at the moment, but I mean, it's not a new thing really. It was just never a great deal of it in the old days. I mean, there's a newspaper cutting in the Barbel Society River Records from 1969, I think it is, of a barbel being caught by Dave Williams up in Waternewton Millpool,
Okay.
which is one of the first ones I've seen recorded. You know, and then I've got another cutting at home that's come out of a works book on Baker Perkins of one caught in 1976 at Castor.
Oh, wow.
There's some debate whether it was actually the Castor Backwater or Castor Black Dyke,
Yep.
which is like the All Walton side, which is technically it's Castor Parish.
Yep.
So, but then there's been one or two after that. And then there was a stocking in the 90s and things like that. Foo caught, you know, these sort of came to light years later by people, but there was never a great deal of barbel fishing done.
Yeah.
And then I hooked into my first one by chance when I was chub fishing, and then got one or two others. Ken Wade used to do a weekly column in the Peterborough Evening Telegraph. He kindly put some pictures in. We started to get one or two of the other anglers coming down, which, you know, people say, oh no, publicity. At the time, there was no, the specimen side wasn't really doing anything on that at the end of the Nene. So
Yeah.
you know, and I just started bailiffing for PDAA around 2009, 2010, which was largely match angling then. You know, a lot of the old boys there were all from the match angling days on the rivers and things like that, and the specimen side of things was sort of alien to them. A size 10 hook is something to tow a car with, you know, to a match angler. So, and it sort of progressed a bit from there, and we started to get one or two local anglers coming, catching, you know, and then we sort of bailiffing it, you could help them out, put them on into areas and that, and it's obviously the publicity grew, and it sort of spiraled on from there. Then All Walton came on. There'd always been barbel down there as well, you know. That started to pick up, people started to catch there, you know. So, and then because the club is a day ticket, and you know, there's membership, but it's largely day tickets, we started to see a good rise in the income, you know, because I think it had sort of flatlined for a few years on when the old match fishing from the rivers declined. Ferry Meadows sort of went through patches of fits and starts. That came on again about the same time, so things started. Really, I think that was the turning point for the club. The specimen side certainly put a lot of coins into the coffers.
Yeah.
You know, with day tickets and things like that. And then the book sales started to increase. But the fishing was good, you know, as you know, we had some great fish. We looked after it. We took part in one year of the Barbel logbook.
Yep.
Which that all went off to the Environment Agency at the end of the season. They compiled a report from their data from sensors and things and stockings that they have for the river against our catch reports and things, and it worked well. You know, and we the sort of Castor backwater fishery developed into a fantastic place to fish.
Yeah.
You know, and All Walton say All Walton, and then we with here at Elton. You know, I know it's something we want to get onto. That came in around 2013, and sort of added to it all.
Yeah, there was that article, wasn't there, in the Times? I think that was that. I think that was what sort of drew me in.
Julian
Just
Chidgey and the
that's it.
improve
Yeah,
your course fishing. Yeah, that was
yeah,
something I was keen to see because Castor was I was born and bred in Castor. I fished the river, that's where I learned to fish. It had its problems over the years, in the years up to when the specimen, sort of the barbel side, came on, sort of 2010, 2011. It had a reputation, but for the wrong reasons, a bit of antisocial behaviour, um, car crime and things like that, So those are all things that we had to address at the time.
yeah,
We working with the landowners and with the police, we got on top of the problems,
yeah,
and thankfully, the anglers, it don't go away, it's always there. But and the anglers started to come back, and one of my things when I did it, I wanted to see some of the top anglers there. I always thought it'd be nice to get some of the top anglers, and we were lucky. That article, in Improve Your Course Fishing, Julian Chidgey was the first one,
yeah,
and that brought a few people in, like yourself, one or two others. Some stayed, some sort of drifted after a few weeks,
yeah,
because you see an article with a great big fish, and
yeah. I think it's just going to happen.
clickbait
Just
to
turn
call
up.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
But and that brought things in, We over the years we've had some cracking. Some of the top boys there, Phil Smith, lovely bloke, Phil, fantastic fisherman.
Yeah.
The list of things that he's got. I mean, God, I'd like a quarter of that.
Yeah, yeah,
I was lucky he got his first his Nene double to add to his list. Terry Theobald, fellow Chub Study Group man, he came down there, fished it, and got his new Barbel PB, which I photographed. I photographed several fields. And now, then quite a few others that have done articles. Angling Times use it quite regularly.
yeah,
And the Environment Agency, we had some enhancement work done down there on the river with underwater flow deflectors, bank reprofiling, and along with the barbel and things like that, they used to bring people down because it was a bit of a showplace.
Yeah.
Things had worked well. So all in all, it sort of went from being nowhere to a super barbel fishery, really.
yeah,
Although there was other species there, some great chub and that, but
yeah.
it was the barbel that most people came for.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. I remember sort of like getting down there. Sort of. I think I sort of around autumn I first started, and then it's I just remember getting to the river and sort of thinking, do I go left? Do I go right?
Yeah.
And just it's just one of those things you have to sort of get to know it, and then the start of the following season, there would be a lot of anglers on there. You're not on top of each other. You're spread out, and like you say, it was generally most people were chasing those barbel, but it was such a beautiful place to be as well, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
For me living in London and sort of coming to somewhere like Castor, it's a stunning place, and like you say, it's well looked after. Everyone sort of all the anglers put themselves on the bank, but also look after it as well. So you can sort of see that. But there's always going to be that.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're being open with anglers and giving. I mean, I had a little business cards done, which I used to give to the anglers from my phone number,
Yeah,
and the dog walkers and other people from the village and that I knew. So if there was any problems, they could contact me 24/7.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't just me. There was other bailiffs as well. So we looked after it, and when it started to get really good, we sort of that pressure intensified to keep it there.
yeah,
So and again with the bailiffing, some people think, oh, you're just there to dish out a few tickets, off you go, or annoy people, and no, it's not. If you do it properly and you know the section well enough, you talk to the anglers, you give them information, and as long as they're fair with you and give you, it's vice versa.
yeah,
You can pass that knowledge on to other anglers, and like yourself when you come.
yeah,
And that's what it's all about. We wanted people to fish it,
Yeah.
and by keeping too much quiet, you're not going to get anglers. If they come and 2 or 3 times and don't catch, then they probably won't come again. If they come 2 or 3 times and catch every time,
yeah,
they're going to keep coming. And that's what we wanted. So people were buying club books, and then you would get the day ticket people. And,
yeah,
I've quite a few cases. I had a chap from, I think it was Dis, phone me. He'd read about it and wanted a little bit more information, and so I gave him some. I met him there the day he came and told him, which swims were fishing well at the time. He went into the gate peg, and I won about 10 or 11 pound. which was a new PB.
Yeah.
So he was chuffed to bits with that. And I did tell him, as you know, it was a venue that was best suited to roving.
Yep.
So I said, you know, stay in an hour in a swim. If you catch one, sometimes it's best to move on. He went on to another swim and caught another one, which was bigger than his first. So he caught 2 PBs. He was happy as Larry. And that's
Yeah.
what it's about. You know, you're there. That's what you want. That's what it's not there to annoy people.
Yeah.
You know, you can annoy them if they're the sort that don't play by the rules.
Yeah.
But it's what it's about. That's what it's about.
I think that's one of the things, isn't it? You know, I remember sort of being prepared to catch a barbel. You know, and it was only when I sort of caught it that you appreciate things like the net size and the fish go. I remember you given me one piece of really good advice. You know, you catch a barbel and the fight that he put out is so extreme. You know, and you sort of you want to see your prize straight away. You know, and the I guess the getting it out and having a look at it straight away is, you know, is what you want to do. You want to get a picture of it. But I remember you saying, you know, to put it like running 100 meters and then someone asking you hold your breath.
Yeah.
You sort of think, yeah, I can see that because
Yeah.
that, you know, they do go potty when they're in the water. You know, you get the take, you know, and it's a really sort of strong and you know, sometimes quite quick, but they put in such a fight. But just being prepared to look after them, and you know, catching fish, I guess, you know, seeing the same fish over a sort of few year period is what you see if you look after them. But it's got to be, you know, you've got the net that, you know, you keep them out for you know, get a picture away and maybe treat them if there's any damage, return them, not just stick them straight back in, but return them to when they're ready. So keep them in the net and those sorts of things, because it's, you know, so excited about catching the first one from there.
Yeah, I mean, they were things, as particularly castor fishery, and then it spread to the others. As the fish developed in size, we started to get the bigger fish. It's then that we had to sort of change the rules accordingly. You know, I got the club to have the minimum 30-inch landing net rule for specimen fish, and the unhooking mats. And then also on the backwaters, we went it down to just one rod. As you know, if you've got 2 rods on that backwater, particularly on the Black Dyke or Bolton and that, if you get your take on 2 rods, you've got no chance. You know, so and not all anglers are of the same capability, you know, but so with getting those rules in place, you know, as the fishery developed, the rules had to change. So and that was quite good, because in the old day, I mean, it was not just one thing you'd say, oh, we're going to change it next week. I had to contact the committee, put a case to the committee. The committee would then review it, talk about it, and say yay or nay. And then you'd have to wait till the next year till the book came out with the new rules in it. It didn't please a lot of people, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people took the ump about it. You know, but it is what it is, and there's not a lot of rules on river fishing, as you know. You know, but the clubs, there's certain rules that you have to stick by. And, you know, and those were very important, particularly for the specimen fishing, and there were rules that we did enforce quite stringent. You know, but it's the norm now. I mean, very few anglers go without an unhooking mat now. You know, if you're going for barbel, you want a minimum 30-inch net. You know, I used to see people coming with 18, 20-inch pan nets. Oh, I've had a 30-pound carp in this from a local commercial. Yeah, well, you may have, but a barbel ain't that. You need it for the rest and recovery. As you say, you know, they put up such a fight, and it is, if you imagine, as I said to you, trying to run 100 yards and hold your breath for 5 minutes. If you take that straight out of the water, you've got to let them rest. And you need that size net to rest them. And that was very important, and thankfully the committee approved it. You know, and it's still enforced today.
Yeah, it's definitely you know, it's such an obvious one as well, isn't it? You sort of think you wouldn't turn up with a
no, it is, but you know, the amount, and I still see them, to be honest. I still see them, you know, and you have to sort of educate them a little bit. And it's, oh, you know, I don't think I'll catch. You don't know what you'll catch when that. You know, we all think we're going to catch a monster and then probably catch nothing, and then vice versa. But it is what it is. You know, you've got to be prepared to catch the bigger things in the river.
It's like one of the other sort of key takeaways I had was the making sure your rod is either fixed or in your hand, because, you know, the amount of times I've sort of turned away and then just heard the bait runner going, you know, if you haven't got your rod sort of fixed down or you haven't got hold of it, you're going to lose it. And you know, that's one you know, I've seen people there before with their rods, and you sort of think, you know, if you get a take, you know,
Yeah,
you're going to be
yeah,
lucky
yeah.
to
I
see
know.
your rod again, because
It's we've all been there, you know. Even on a rod rest with a back rest,
yeah,
it'll pull it out.
yeah,
You know, I was talking to another good angler who used to fish it quite regularly, Matthew Bodley. If anybody's got in there later, Tony Miles books. He was a big friend of Tony Miles.
yeah,
Did a lot of fishing with Tony Miles, a lot of bait development with Tony Miles, and Matt's probably got, I'd say, the best bait in the country.
yeah,
We call them MMBs, Matt's magic boilies. Them things could catch a Loch Ness monster, and he uses them for everything. You know, and it's something he developed with Tony and took on. But I was sat with him one day in the gate peg, and I told him about 7-something barbel, or £7 something odd barbel, and I've got the picture on my camera, and I showed him, and he turned round, and the next thing his rod had gone, and he just managed to grab it before it was gone, and that was on
yeah,
front and back rest.
oh,
You know, and Matt's one of the probably top barbel anglers in the country.
yeah,
But it can happen to anybody, and you know, and I used to see people just resting them on the ground. Oh, I'm not after barbel, mate, I'm after chub. You don't know what you
yeah,
you know. It could be a pike, it could be anything.
yeah,
You know, you've got to be. You know, as you know, the blink of an eye. You know, all anglers know. You call an H or you pour a cup of coffee, and that's the moment it's going to hit it, isn't it?
yeah.
You know, as if to say, he's not looking. Go, 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 go. You know, and your rod's gone. You know, we've all been there. It happens to everybody. So go prepared and make sure it don't move.
Yeah, I've been. I know I've been in swims before. Just sort of sitting there, early start. You know, no chair, just sort of sitting in amongst the long grass, and then just nodded off, and then just like literally, it's like that's it. You know, probably had my eyes shut for about 5 minutes, and then you know you hear like the rod sort of pulling round on the reeds or something, and it is just you know guaranteed to be that time. But it's such a you know, it's so instant and so vicious that
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
you've got to be ready for that.
yeah.
It's one of those.
There's me here. Look, the morning ain't pushed in the thing. There you go. Practice what you preach.
Yeah, yeah. It's So we you know we're out this morning. We're on one of the club's syndicate stretches, Elton, and I remember you know I remember sort of talking to you about it. I never fished it. I didn't really know too much about it. I knew bit of history from Nigel's catches, but I remember when the club sort of took this on. But how did that come about? You know, you know it's club section now, it's syndicate, but before that, you know, sort of Elton was a pretty sort of unknown place to most people. But
Yeah, it was a free water for a number of years, and there was some fantastic fish here. Several of the old Nene records were caught here,
yeah,
and the current ones here now. It 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 had a little bit of a problem with any free water. You get a little bit of antisocial behaviour, you know, with fires and litter and rowdiness and that sort of stuff, you know. And then the thing is here, because it's in the middle of a small village, a lot of people were parking on the village green,
yeah,
which annoyed the locals. There were people bivvied up here for days on end. And I think there'd been one or two spats over the years, and then I think it came to a head. There was an altercation between an angler and a dog walker.
okay,
Verbal altercation, that was, you know, nothing. But which got back to one of the landowners, and they decided they were going to stop the fishing. I heard this from an angler that fished here. Luckily, you know, we acted on it straight away.
yeah,
I contacted a member of the committee who contacted the landowner. It wasn't an easy process. They had to jump through a lot of hoops, do a few presentations for parish councils and things like that, you know, because I think it was pretty much at rock bottom at the time, you know, everybody's patience with what was happening. So anyway, and because of the history of the club, it's been going for so long, and I think they were able to use Castor as a bit of a model, you know, say this
yeah,
is what we do, you know, we've looked at, you know, blah, blah, blah. They agreed to let us take it on, but we had to run it as a syndicate because they didn't want it as a day ticket, because you'd probably still get the same problems of not knowing who was here
yeah,
and things like that. So it was run as a limited syndicate, which it still is.
yeah.
You know, and it seems to work well. It's been 11 years now, I think.
Oh,
So yeah, it works well. And people, we took a bit of stick at the time, people said, oh, they're just jumping in on the bandwagon, you know, they're taking that, I ain't going to fish, so I ain't paying to fish there when it's free, blah, 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 blah. Same old macho stuff, you know, you get whatever. But the simple fact is, we did it to save the fishing. There wasn't going to be any fishing. You wouldn't have been able, anybody wouldn't have been able to fish here because the landowners didn't want it. So we stepped in to protect the fishing. So, all this bravado that we're just doing it, we make, you know, going to be hundreds of pounds for a ticket. It isn't, as you know, it's not expensive.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more than you have to pay on top of your normal book, and there's a waiting list. But it's not expensive. It was never done to make money. It was done to protect the fishing, and it seems to work well for everybody. You know? It's looked after.
It's looked after. Hardly anyone's here.
Yeah, you get these days, don't you, where you get people that want to panic to get onto a place and then don't come.
Yeah.
But it's fits and starts, isn't it? You know, you could come another day and then probably struggle to get in a spot. But
I think last time I was here, there was like 7 other anglers on.
Yeah.
Today, you sort of rock up and there's just us 2 that we know about. But
yeah, there'll be more later. You know, I tend to fish it in the evenings. I think I'm a morning person, but I'm after the chub.
Do you fish it much, Mark?
Not a great deal, no. I tend to come 2 or 3 times early season, then 2 or 3 times at the end. It's the chub that, you know.
Yeah.
That's my main quarry now, chub. I've done me. I still like me barbel fishing. Don't get me wrong. But it's the chub that keep me interested. You know?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing. I mean, you got your barbel stuff out. I've got my chub, but we don't know. We might catch.
I'll catch a
bream. I know your expertise at catching bream at any venue.
Yeah.
I've already had one this morning. I don't want another one.